I'm SVM Sports Editor Dan Wasner, and I have 4 downs to recap Week 3 of the high school football season. First down, unbalanced schedule. Week 3 featured blowouts across the board. All 12 games in the Sauk Valley were decided by 20 or more points. The average margin of victory was 34.3 points. The closest game was Sterling's 32-12 win over Rich South, and the other close games were Amboy's 35-14 loss to Hall and Galena's 41-20 win over Milledgeville. There were 4 shutouts, in Lutheran beating Dixon 47-0, Fulton beating Morrison 42-0, Oregon beating Rock Falls 40-0, and Forston beating West Carroll 66-0. Second down, if the shoe fits. The Fulton Steamers broke a 10-game losing streak to the Morrison Mustangs in the Wooden Shoe Bowl, and they did it in dominating fashion, winning 42-0. The Steamers did all their work on the ground, rushing for 414 yards, while on the other side of the ball, Morrison only had 85 total yards, 81 on the ground and 4 through the air. Jason Osborne and Trey Simmons led the way for the Steamers. Osborne rushed for 145 yards, including TD runs of 75 and 56 yards, and Simmons rushed for 133 yards and a touchdown. Third down, the real deal. The Polo Marcos made one of the biggest statements in the state this week by ending Stockton's 25-game NUIC Upstate winning streak with a 59-36 win in Stockton. This should put Polo in the AP Top 10 and sends the message that the Marcos should be considered a contender in the 1A playoffs. Polo's Brody Grobe had 130 rushing yards and 3 rushing TDs. He also threw for 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Marcos are far from a one-man show, and they seem to have had a different player step up each week as they are 3-0 at this point. Fourth down, we're 1/3 of the way through the season now, and that means we got to start looking towards the playoffs. We have 3 undefeated teams in Newman, Polo, and Eastland Pearl City, and they only need 2 more wins to become playoff eligible. In all 3 cases, they should be able to attain that fairly easily and make their way into the playoffs. Sterling, Dixon, Oregon, Erie, Prophetstown, Fulton, and Amboy are all at 2-1. Each of these teams need 3 wins to become playoff eligible, and each of them have kind of different roads and tough roads to get there. The Three Rivers teams like Erie, Prophetstown, Fulton, and Amboy will all have to play each other, which means they could knock each other out, and they all have to play Newman still. And Sterling has a lot of tough NIB-12 East crossover games. Dixon's in the Big Northern, and so is Oregon. I think both those teams should be able to get 3 more wins and make the playoffs. Milledgeville and AFC are 1-2. They've shown some positive signs, but they need to start translating those positive signs into win quickly to make the postseason. Rock Falls, Morrison, BV, and West Carroll are all 0-3. They have no room for error at this point. They lose 2 more games and they're out of the playoffs, and they need to start looking forward to 2015. For more interesting numbers from Week 3, check out Tuesday's edition. Also look out for the Athletes of the Week.